All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Technically Short podcast, where Shawn Short and me, Thomas Carney, talk about pretty much any topic under the sun, and with our very different personalities, we'll present our different perspectives, different perspectives, thoughts, and experiences that we've had throughout our lives. So, without further ado, Shawn, what are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about relationships. I feel like that's something that everybody loves to listen on and get an idea of what we want and what is a goal and all that type of good stuff. We're about to dive in deep. So grab your coffee, grab your donut, grab whatever you're about to eat or drink, and get in a nice comfy chair because it's about to go down. Popcorn ready.
Okay. All right, Shawn. I wrote down a couple questions. They were like 5 minutes ago, and not even. But oh man. But I'm gonna ask a question, but then you can ask me the same question. Or you can ask me a different one. We can go back and forth, whatever. But let's just start off. Let's start off with this was your question. You already brought it up a little bit. What's it called? You brought it up a little bit before we started recording. But what do you want, or what are you looking for in a relationship?
Okay, so for me, what I look for in a relationship is a beautiful woman who's chasing after God, who loves me. That's like my goal of a relationship, right? So if she meets those criteria, that's like an instant win.
And is that it?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful one who's chasing after God. That's your only criteria.
Yeah, that's literally it for me.
Yeah, you got a wide pool.
Try to make it easy.
Easy for who?
For me.
Be honest, I feel like that makes it more complicated.
Nah, because I feel like if you put like a whole bunch of restrictions on what your wife has to do, then it just limits everything that she had. Like, what if you find a woman, for instance, like, if you're like, my wife has to be super person who knows how to cook and clean and whatever else, but what if your wife, like, God gives you, is like, she doesn't do any of that, but she loves you well, and she works like an extra job or something else where like you might have to pick up a little bit of her slack, but it's totally worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like some things are give and take up until it gets to the point where somebody's getting abused in the relationship.
Right. So, so for me, what you like for me, like I'm just going like what you said is a baseline.
Yeah, baseline.
And that's like it. If nothing else, that's at least what I'm looking for.
Right.
Like, she believes and loves God, and I find her actually physically attractive.
Right. Absolutely. You should.
Where physical attraction, I think, I heard this particularly from Ben Stewart, is the least important of the most important things.
I agree.
And it's because you want my dad told me this when I was young. He told me this my whole life. He's like, you should be able to look at your woman, your wife, and never doubt in your mind that she's the most beautiful woman in the room.
Right, I agree. I also agree with your dad.
Like, and some of that beauty comes from it doesn't all come from looks. A lot of it is also personality.
I agree.
Who they are as a person. I've heard people say that the longer they date somebody, the more beautiful that other person becomes. So I think, like, with me, like, I'm going to try to ask you the question, like, with that being the baseline of her being beautiful and loving God, what would be the nice to haves?
The nice to haves is a wife who can cook, clean, or she contributes like a lot to the finances if she can't cook and clean. I'm not like that's a must, but those are like I feel like those are really good things because like what if you're having a bad day and I work like 60 hours that week or like 80 hours that week. I would like for my wife to be able to be like, hey, even if she can't cook or clean, that she at least like makes an effort to try to do so. Where she's like, okay, I can't cook. Let me go grab him some takeout, or I can't cook, or let my mom show me a recipe. I could try to make this one thing. I'm good at this one thing, and he might like that one thing. You know, whatever it's a spaghetti pasta or tacos or whatever. So if she's able to just constantly, you know, like do niceties. That's what I call them, niceties.
Okay. So I was writing some things down as you were talking. Like whenever you said like you said something whenever you were like these are your these are your nice to haves. These are like if it really what you were saying. It sounded to me that it wasn't necessarily that she cooks and cleans.
Right.
Like that's not it's a nice. It would be like cool if that's something she enjoyed to do.
Right.
But also like it's more to you. It's to you, and I think to me also to a lot of people, it's more. It's less about a particular thing that they do and a particular action, but more about how they. It's more about how they are to you. It's like
right. I agree.
How do they do they have the foresight and the care. Some people do not care about that stuff. Some people is like, hey, I can. And some people want to be able, don't want to feel like that's putting a burden on somebody else. And I feel like that to me that sounds to me I've heard people say that, and to me that sounds unhealthy. But that's me. Some people flat out it's like, hey, like flat out like that's just them, and that I won't go too far into that because I don't understand that mindset. But but like I think. Just wanting. There's nothing wrong with wanting wanting your significant other, to. I guess in your mind, like you are going down a very particular path of like I'm running down for the day. I've had a long day, and she knows that. It would be nice if she did something nice to show that she cares and that I'm doing these things because I'm not. At that point, if you're coming home to a wife, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for you're doing it for both of you or the family. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's something like that is a two-way street. Like obviously, it's like
absolutely.
And I feel like if some people are like I like to do nice things for other people, and I just like not people to do nice things for me, or they're just like I just like to do nice things for people, but I don't really care if people they do things like that like nice things for me or not. But like there's one way, as long as they're not mean. Some people are like that too, but like, and I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It's just how you particularly perceive things being done. It kind of dives into the love languages a little bit. But now that we brought that up, I'm just gonna look up what all the love languages are just to make sure I remember them all. Don't skip any over. Oh, okay. Well, that's not. I tried to find a list of love languages, and I went to.
That is so fun. Couch.
I was like to take the quiz for the 5 love. That's a book. I don't want a book. Okay. Do you know what your love languages are, Shawn?
I would say I think quality time is like my number one. I love touching, feeling that's nice too, and gifts for sure. Like those are like the top 3 of me. Cause like if you get me something, it doesn't even have to be like something expensive. It could just be something that was like something I liked. It's like $10 or $5 or something, but it's just the thought that matters. It's like like that's what I used to love. Cause my mom was, I guess she kind of like brought me up that way. Like she'd come back from like a grocery store or something for me and my brother, and then like have like a toy or something that we didn't ask for or anything like that. She was just like, hey, you guys been good, and I've just been thinking about you. Here's this. You know what I mean? It was like a reward system, and it also was about just like caring and showing that like, hey, I really do love you. I know that I don't have much, but and I remembered that figure you like. I remember that shirt you liked. I remember that shoes, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And it was on my mind when I was at work or due to this, and you've been good, so here, bam. So.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
What about you? What are your, like, top 3 love languages?
I think my top one is quality time. And I remember we talked about this. I don't know if you were there for that conversation. There was a group of us after Sunday, after church on Sunday one day.
Sunday.
And we talked a lot about quality time and how different people perceive quality time in different ways. For me, quality time is specific time that's one-on-one. To me, it's quality time that. To me, that's like the purest form of quality time. It's one-on-one, and like you're doing something together. There's not like you can be out. Maybe you're out on a date somewhere, but the focus isn't on anybody else but each other. That's like to me the purest form of quality time that I honestly like. I honestly like to have a lot of that. Just and like there's quality. I think there's different levels of quality time. Whether it's like you can be out with other people and friends, but that kind of to me diminishes the quality of the time that you're spending. As far as the relationship goes, it's still good quality time with friends, but not a quality time for the relationship. And some people would drastically disagree with that for themselves, and that obviously, but we're talking about us, and I keep going back and forth. But, yeah, definitely quality time. Man, words of affirmation are probably right underneath that one, and then acts of service. I like receiving gifts, but I prefer to give them. I love giving good gifts because I spend time. I'll be the person that takes notes. Say, okay, they just said this thing. Okay, I'm writing that down on my phone. My notes going in, or I'm ordering it pre-order. Like we're gonna get them. We're gonna give them that gift. But no, I'd say that. But that's me. Quality time, acts of service, and quality time, words of affirmation, then acts of service.
I think those are good ones. Definitely good ones.
But yeah, I think like you kind of already touched on it. We're going to go into another question. You kind of already touched on it. And I just realized I didn't start the timer. But
I thought it was always just going to pop back up. Nah. That's funny.
Okay, we got time. But, like, you already kind of very slightly touched on it without actually saying it. But, in a relationship, what are your red flags?
My red flags is if a girl that I like is less attention on me. Like, for instance, like, if we go somewhere and it's just, like, she is more focused on everybody except me, then that would be a red flag. Mm-hmm. I think another red flag is like no quality time, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
No gifts and no touching. That would also be like, those are like the red flags. Those would be a list. But definitely like if we go anywhere and she can't like, either if she can't conversate or she hates my friends or something, because most of the people I bring around are like family to me, so like
yeah,
if she would hate my friends, that would be a red flag.
Yeah. Now I just thought of this as you were talking. Yeah. It kind of goes backwards for a second, but you said there's no quality time. I talked about what I consider quality time. What do you consider quality time?
I think quality time is spending time with a person It could be with friends, it could be without friends, but it's intentional, and it's about, like, okay, like, for instance, like, if we all went to Kennywood, you, your significant other, me, my significant other, and a whole bunch of other friends. To me, that would still be quality time. It would not be quality time is if, like, me and her were together, and she's just on the phone and, like, ignoring me or not giving attention.
Right.
But if it's specifically attention for both of us, then I would say it's quality time.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense, because I would say, like, yeah, there's definitely value in all of that, even for the relationship. Like, because I said, like, it diminishes the quality time, the way I think about it whenever you're out with other people, and like, it's not just singular attention, but, like, I'm talking about that from, like, the purest form of what I consider to be quality time. But then you're out with other people, there's still value to that, because you get to be out maybe with her friends that maybe you don't hang out with too often, and you get to know them a little bit better, and it helps you get closer to her in response to that. I think, like, and you can have that. I think both, there's places for both, and there should be time for both. Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to make sure I rehashed that, because I might have just left it at, like, being like, yeah, no, that's not quality time at all with hanging out with other friends, and that's not really what I was saying, so I wanted to rehash on it. But
no, I think you did good. I understood what you meant.
But yeah, got any questions for me?
Yeah, so now I'm about to give you some hard questions.
Aw, man.
So, this is going to be a real hard question. I want you to give me the exact same question back, too.
Okay.
This is going to be kind of hard. Some people are going to be like, what? Okay, so describe the girl you like. The type of girl you like.
I'm going to flat out be like, what are you saying? Describe the type of girl that I like. The type of girl in general.
Yeah. If you want, I can go first. So I'll show. Like, we're not saying nothing crazy. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not gonna say something out of pocket, but it'd just be a good way of, like, showing, like, oh, okay, these are the type of girls I like.
Yeah. Yeah, you go ahead first. I gotta think on that.
Okay, so for me, the type of girls I usually like are, like, brunette, blonde, and black hair. Like, that's just, like, a thing I just generally like, right? And red hair, too, sometimes. So then,
You just lean with pretty much every hair color.
Second, I kind
of,
like... As
long as it's natural.
I like long hair, for sure. Definitely, like, slim build for sure, and that would be like the type of girl I like. And then, like, her eyes, perfect. If their eyes are great, love it.
Okay, what about personality trait?
Personality trait. The girls I like, I would say, are usually happy, caring, kind, and strong. Those are, like, the four types.
Strong in what way?
Strong in the way of, like, if something was to go down, they would be able to protect either themselves or me. Like, I love a girl who's, like, strong to be like, okay, you're not going to speak to that person that way because that was rude. You know what I mean? I love, like I love to see my girl assertive.
Yeah.
In the kindest way. Like, in a hero way, not, like, in, like, a bully way, like, you know what I mean, that type of way, but, like, on a way of, even if it's with their own friends, and then, like, somebody else is being rude to their friend, and they're able to step up and say, hey, you're not going to talk to my friend like that, like, you know, even if it's something like that, like, I love to see, like, a heroic type of woman, like, kind and strong and loving.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's cool. I like the you know, you're thinking about, like, the woman that stands up for her friends, or stands up for even if her friend's making fun of somebody, that would say, hey, that's gossip.
Yeah.
That's not that, like, if because she's being a Christian woman. It's like, we, like, don't gossip. Like, Christians, like, we try our best, at least in the circle I know, we do our best not to gossip.
Right.
And so no, I 100% get what you're saying. For me, the woman, I'm not gonna like physical traits. Like I find a lot of different kinds of women attractive. So
that's fair.
That's as long as I find her attractive. Like I don't have a flat out preference. I used to, but like then I realized it was just like more about like current circumstance than it was about like what over the overall picture. But like personality wise, like a strong will, a woman that has that strong will, has a strong will, not worried about, not afraid to call me out on my crap. Somebody that not just is growing alongside me in Christ, but is also going to grow me by calling me out on my crap and not being afraid not being worried about it whenever I call her out on hers. I think that should happen in every relationship.
I agree.
In a loving, caring way, because like I think this goes for anybody that you're close to, friends or significant others, family. If you're not calling each other out on your crap, then you're not being loving to that person.
Right.
And so, like, I think I would want a woman that is going to call me out, and like me, then having to be able to be humble and respectful enough to accept what she's saying, even if I think she's wrong,
right,
and vice versa. Like I keep saying like things are both of these things are a two-way street. Like specifically, like a woman like a woman who like for me like a woman who is like a leader, a woman who is like a person other people look to. That would be like the pinnacle ideal, because like for me, because I don't know, I feel like the way I'm striving for God, like I personally work on my own personal growth every day, and I focus on my body, my mind, my spirit, and I don't see me ending up with somebody that doesn't care about taking care of their mind, body, and their spirit, all three in that trinity.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I feel like everybody should do that, to be honest.
Like, but not everybody does. Like, there are some great women out there that are phenomenal, but they, but there's an area maybe in their spirit that they lack, or and when I say when I mention the body, I mean just simply eating well.
Yeah.
Doing the things that we do for our own, not just survival, but like
consumption.
I mean like the reason I love health and like I love learning more about it and growing in that for my own sake is because it's not just for my own sake. It's so that I can serve the kingdom of God at the highest possible capacity.
Oh, that is good. That'll preach.
And like, so like, I think everybody, like, you hear people, you hear guys be like, yeah, my body's a temple. And like, it literally is.
Yeah.
Like, it literally is a temple for the Lord.
Right.
And like, we should, and I want to be with a woman that understands that.
Yeah.
That takes care of herself. And that takes care of herself. And again, that's an area where I would want to be called out if I'm not, and then like us be able to help each other in those areas so that we can all grow, so we can both grow in that mind, body, and spirit arena at the same level, or bring each other up in congruency to a higher level of each one of those three. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Honestly, that hits hard. I don't know about for me, I don't know about the health as much. As long as she's not like super unhealthy, like
yeah,
I don't want her to get like diabetes like first day in, but like I just want her to be able to be happy, but I also do want her to have some type of health. I think spiritual, mental, and physical health is really important. Like, so, like, those are things, like, I feel like as a couple, as a unit, we should be both, like, as we're getting closer to God, that just, I feel like, should be naturally the course. Like, you should start getting better at certain things. All the stuff that you, like, suck at when you first walk with Christ, you shouldn't suck at the end of walking with Christ.
I guess that's... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's good.
Okay. I was gonna say, I guess, like, I feel convicted by saying what I said because, like, they're all great traits, and I do believe, like everybody should take care of themselves in those 3 areas.
Yeah.
But, like, the idea that when I ask somebody out, fully expecting them to be aligned with all of those 3 areas and being as good as they can be is unrealistic. And I acknowledge that. Like, it's like, I'm sure there's people out there that exist.
Yeah.
So, like, not saying, like, but I'm also being like, if I find someone attractive, I want to ask them out and on a date, and I find out that they're lacking they don't care that they care of the body as well, but they're very strong in the other areas, then it's like that would take some time of contemplation for me. It depends on, like, how bad how if they don't actually take care of themselves at all or not. But like the because I don't know, I guess I find it attractive when a woman takes care of herself, essentially. Yeah. So, like, so kind of like I want her to be healthy, happy, and happy, just like you said. Maybe like just because we're different people at a higher degree of healthiness.
Yeah.
But like, but like, it's also not going into the relationship being like, oh man, she's so unhealthy. She's this unhealthy now, but you know, if she dates me, then she'll get healthier. Like, that's unhealthy. That's unhealthy mindset.
Yeah, because then it's like a codependency, where she needs to have it.
It's like
on God, where she's able to do that on her own for striving.
Right, exactly. I shouldn't expect her to lean on me, because she should be leaning on God.
Right.
And I should be leaning on God. Like, she should be the first priority, regardless. And, like, right now, obviously, my body's there's no video here, but my body's taken a hit recently because I can't work out as heavy as I used to.
Yeah, but you still look great.
I appreciate it. So, like, sure, I find out other ways to work out and be healthy, but, like, but also expecting somebody else to go that hard, also, as hard as I try to go for myself, for me, I guess there's a line there. I don't know where it's at yet. Maybe one day I'll figure it out. But like, as long as she cares about the mind, body, spirit, to a degree, I guess.
I think that's fair.
That's kind of like what I'm looking for. And like has that understanding that it's important, that it's at least important. That it's at least important. I realize I said it really quiet, but
No, I totally agree with you. I think that should be like a key factor, no matter what. Because, I mean, you can't just have somebody not caring about any of those 3. Especially if you're, like I said, if you're on a walk with Christ, you're just going to start caring about those 3. You're just going to help it. Yeah. Like, as you're focusing on Jesus, it's just going to happen naturally.
Yeah. So, we're probably going to go a little overtime, which is fine. I'm okay with that, because this is a good conversation. We have one more question, and we're definitely going to go over time. We only have 1 minute to 30 minutes, but and this is another big question.
Okay.
What is the one biggest lesson you've learned from your past relationships?
Ooh, I learned my biggest lesson. I would just say is honestly get a woman who's of God. Because I've chosen plenty of women who are not of God, who either say they're like a Christian, but they don't really like read the Bible, they don't pray, they're not focused on God. And like, I would just date them because I thought they were attractive, and it would be the worst thing ever for me, because they would either cheat, or they would not be a woman to be a wife, or they would just have me in a state of chaos or drama or all this stuff that, like, if you don't get a woman who's found it in God, then I personally have seen the chaos for the choice of not choosing a woman of God.
Yeah.
So for me, my biggest takeaway from all my past relationships would definitely be having a woman who is Christ-centered. And also, like, don't settle. So if you don't, that would be my second one. Because there's times where I dated girls who I didn't find attractive, but I wanted to just give them an opportunity, and it almost caused me to, like, feel like I was settling. So, like, anytime I seen something, I was, like, looking. So get a girl that God has given you the eyes that you think that she's beautiful, but make sure her heart and mind and soul is Christ-centered.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's like, I guess I was looking at it from a different like that's good, and that's why it's good to have two different perspectives. Because, like, yeah, date a woman of God, and it's funny because, like, me, I've only had, like, 2 longer term relationships in my life, and, like, one was with a woman that wanted nothing to do with God, would get mad if you brought up his name.
Same.
And then another, and then the next one where there was years in between, was with a woman that loves God. That one didn't end up. That one ended up as well, and, like, between both of those, after, like, seeking good counsel and, like, talking with people, like, after the second one, not really after the first one, I was still trying to figure out who I was after that first relationship. But the biggest thing I learned wasn't necessarily about the woman, but it was more about myself. That before I was going to look for a woman to date, is that I had to be chasing God with all that I had before I went on to chase a woman. Because, like, the first relationship, I obviously wasn't chasing God. I was chasing the woman for very stupid reasons. And then, and maybe one day we can go vulnerable into that, into what that was. But the next relationship, and I thought I was good. I thought I was like, this is it. This is, I found a woman in Christ. And I had my own issues, and so did she, but I had my own issues that I had to deal with, and like, I didn't know that I had these issues until after the relationship ended. And that was after I went and talked with, like, someone like Pastor Ed and my Andrew Regatta, who you know, and everybody but listening probably knows, mainly maybe, and understanding, like, what it means to date as a Christian, what it means to be seeking somebody of God, but also making sure that you're in line with Christ, having a firm understanding of who you're looking for and why you're looking for them. So for me, like, the one big, I guess I kind of went on a couple different tangents there, but, like, the one big thing I learned was that kind of just to wait, for me, and like, it was just, like, to wait in the process and to allow time to heal, and that one day God will provide.
Yeah.
And, like, to have and just put that trust in Him, because I'm not saying I'm never going to ask a woman out until, like, God hits me in the face and says, there she is. So
yeah.
That happens, but not very often. I know.
Right. I agree.
But, like, I think now I have a healthier mindset than I used to going into whatever next relationship, next first date, where my mindset isn't going to be about whether... It's going to be less about, am I doing the right things, and just making sure that I'm actually just aligned with God.
Right. That's good stuff.
That's like the purest thing that I can really say that I just had to learn that to be more aligned with Christ, and just kind of dive into my relationship with him more before I went and tried to do a relationship with someone else.
I think that's really good.
But yeah, I think we are. I mean, we're definitely over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Only a little bit, but we like to. Let's see here. We'd like to try to end off these episodes on a somewhat lighter note.
Yeah.
So, thank you for listening so far, and we're going to end off on. I just picked some really random questions to see what Shawn will say.
I love it.
So, Shawn.
Yes.
Chicken, steak, or fish, and why?
Ooh, chicken, steak, or fish. I'm gonna have to go with chicken, just because if we're gonna have to choose these as like, I don't know, like for the rest of your life, this is the meat you eat.
Yeah.
You get you have chicken sandwiches, you have chicken tacos, you have chicken pasta, you have chicken and rice, you have chicken and like so much other good stuff. So I'm gonna choose chicken and ramen noodles, like everything. Chicken.
I mean, to be fair, you can have chicken. You have steak and rice. You have steak and noodles.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, but like if that's like of all the categories, like that's all you can eat. That's the only meat.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna out of those three,
chicken.
I'm gonna choose chicken.
Okay.
If it was hamburger, I would have been hamburger.
Okay. That wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be.
That was a good one.
Oh yeah.
I actually enjoyed it.
It's not as good as a mattress, but
What about you though? What was yours out of the three?
Oh, chicken for sure.
Yeah,
well,
chicken, right?
Wow, we actually agree on something. Then.
Yeah. It happens. We agreed on Jesus, right?
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, no, chicken is just good, full nice protein.
Yeah.
But then salmon's good too. But salmon's expensive. Chicken's good. But but all right. So that's the end of the episode. So
stay tuned, people.
So yeah, we'll be back next week, guys. All right, thanks for listening. If you like this episode, go ahead and share it out on your socials and let your friends know. If you liked this episode and think that this might help somebody out, or just want to start a conversation off with somebody about relationships and think, hey, I'll just send this to them to start off the conversation. I don't know. I'm just saying words right now. But
it's really good though.
But I think if you got anything out of this, you could like the episode, tag Shawn and I both in on Instagram. Thomas.Carney. And he's
Future Pastor Shawn.
Future Pastor Shawn. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
I think it's really good.